All right, guys, so welcome to how we're going to determine draft order this year. It's going to be through Little League Baseball World Series. Everybody's going to be assigned 2 random teams. So how this will all work is, as you can see, there's a few things I got to point out. There's a United States bracket and an international bracket. Everybody will get 1 US team and 1 international team. If you can see, the bracket looks a little awkward because it looks like there's a first 8, and that is correct. So the teams on the outsides here do have to win an extra game in order to actually win it all. So I will make sure that nobody has 2 of those teams. So like you can't get Southeast, for example, as well as the Caribbean. 8 of us are going to get 1 of those teams on the outside, and that's just how it's going to work. I apologize. It is what it is. The breakdown of how this bracket works is you just can't lose twice. So essentially, if you lose a game in the winner's bracket, you get moved down to the elimination bracket. If you are in the elimination bracket, at that point, if you lose, you're out of the tournament. So that's like where the final standings will be. To go into it a little bit more, because I'm sure you guys will have questions, yes, of course, there can be ties. Like, multiple people's teams can end up losing in the semifinal. That is all fine and dandy. We will go into additional tiebreakers after that. Tiebreaker number 1 being runs scored. Tiebreaker number 2 being runs against. I cannot imagine it would go deeper than that. But if it does, we will figure it out when we get the chance. So we are doing randomizers. This is the randomizer for the United States bracket. And then this is the randomizer for the international bracket. How I've broken it down is we're just going to go in order from last year. So Chris will get his 2 teams first, followed by Bishoy, Anthony, Jack, Dylan, Scott, Alec, Tony, myself, and Alex. So without further ado, here's Chris's first pick. Chris got Great Lakes. As you guys can see, Great Lakes is from the not first 8, so we will remove that from contention, and then now we are in the international one. Chris got Latin America, which is on the outside of the international bracket. So Chris gets Great Lakes and Latin America. All right, now we're moving on to Bishoy. Just make sure I gotta take out Latin America here. All right, so Bishoy will get as his American team Mid-Atlantic. And for his international team, he will get the Caribbean. Okay, so just to be sure, Bishoy has 1 team not in the first 8, 1 team in the first 8. Caribbean's good, Bishoy historically in this tournament, so that's fun. All right, now we're moving on to Anthony. Anthony's American team will be Mountain. Deleting it from the list. Mountain is part of the not first 8, so Anthony is still eligible for a first 8. And his international team will be Canada, which is not in the first, which is in the first 8. So everybody's gotten 1 of each so far. Now we're moving on to Jack. Jack got Northwest, which is on the first 8, so in the international bracket, Jack will get a first 8 team. Just write it down. Jack's international team is Panama, not in the first 8, so that is Jack's international team. Now moving on to Dylan. Dylan got Southeast, which is a first 8, so Dylan is not eligible for a first 8. Dylan's international team is Asia Pacific, which is not in the first 8. So they are also historically a powerhouse in this tournament. Okay, now moving on to Scott. Scott's American team is the Midwest, not a first 8. Scott's international team is Japan. Scott with a pretty early advantage here, because he got 2 teams in not the first 8. All right, so now we're moving on to Alec. Alec got Southwest, which is in the first 8. Alec's international team will be Puerto Rico. So Alec with an pretty solid teams there, Alec. All right, now we're moving on to Tony. Tony got West, which is in the first 4. International team is Europe, Africa, not in the first 4. They were up here. So all right, now moving on to me. I got Metro. Which is in the first. And between Australia and Mexico, I'm going to assign myself Australia so that Alex has one first 8 team and one non-first 8 team. So I get Australia, who are horrible. Which means Alex gets Mexico and New England. Okay, so to break it down, Chris, you have Great Lakes and Latin America. Bishoy has Mid-Atlantic and Caribbean. Anthony has Mountain and Canada. Jack has Northwest and Panama. Dylan has Southeast and Asia Pacific. Scott has the Midwest and Japan. Alec has Southwest and Puerto Rico. Tony has West and Europe, Africa. I have Metro and Australia, and Alex has Mexico and New England. Anybody has any questions, let me know, but I will be putting this in the group chat.